Yeah, I just wanted to talk about a fight that's happening this weekend. Big fight. A fight that's kind of, although it is a big fight, it's gone under the radar a little bit, and that's Daniel Dubois and Anthony Joshua. And it's kind of weird, like, yeah, you've had, all British fights, title fights, in recent history, like, Tyson Fury, Dillian White, that have, got quite a lot of hype. And for whatever reason, this fight's kind of slipped under the radar a little bit. People aren't really talking to me about it, and I'm not seeing that much buzz on social media. Normally in the sort of run up to these fights, I would have people messaging me saying who's going to win and that kind of thing, and I haven't really had that this time. Which is odd to me because, I think it's a far better fight than, say the likes of, Tyson Fury, Dillian White, we all knew he was going to win that one, whereas this one's, it's got much more of a kind of 50-50 feel about it. Although it is for a world title, it's officially for the IBF title, and Joshua will officially become a three-time heavyweight champion if he wins it. In reality, it's not really for the heavyweight championship. Alexander Usyk has given up his IBF title, but he is still the legitimate champion, the legitimate number one in the division. So the winner of this fight, although they'll officially be a world champion, they're not going to be the world champion, so to speak. So it's not really a title fight in that respect, but it is still a really big fight and a very, very interesting one. Obviously, Anthony Joshua has to be the obvious favourite, but can Daniel Dubois win? Absolutely he can. It's a very interesting fight. I think Dubois has a lot of power. Joshua is probably the more skillful of the two, and he does have power himself. And I think maybe for that reason you have to go with Joshua. He's got the Olympic pedigree. Although obviously Daniel Dubois was in the GB squad, he never made the Olympics or anything like that. Another big factor that's been talked about a lot that makes this fight interesting is the fact that Dubois claims that he got the better of Joshua in sparring many years ago. And that's something a lot of people are reading into. Some people are saying that Dubois floored Joshua or at least stunned him, or there's various kind of stories. I think you have to kind of be a bit cautious about going by what happens in sparring. I think one of the lessons I learned very quickly on in my amateur career was that sparring is very different from fighting. I remember my second ever amateur fight. It was against someone that I'd actually sparred, and he had sort of turned up, and he was very unassuming, very polite, very friendly guy, and it was a very easy spar. At that point, it was probably one of the easiest spars I'd ever had. He couldn't really lay a glove on me, and I was able to hit him quite easily. So it felt very, very comfortable. And when I found out that I was fighting that guy, I was very confident. I felt that would be an easy win going in. But when we actually fought, it was much tougher than that. And although I did win the fight, and it was a reasonably comfortable win points wise, it was a tough fight. He got me with he was a very, very different person in the ring for an actual fight. He hit me with some good shots. He staggered me a little bit in the first round. And although I regained control, it was I knew I'd been in a fight at the end of it. And like I say, although it was a unanimous decision win, it was still a fight where I had a headache afterwards, and I knew that I'd been in a tough contest. And we boxed together. We boxed not against each other, but on the same show a while later, a month down the line. And I saw him fight another opponent. And he stopped the guy in the third round, and I watched him giving the guy, the guy was a bloody mess afterwards. This guy was tearing into him with sort of left hooks and things like that. And like I say, he was just a very different animal from that friendly, amicable guy that had turned up and, gone quite easy in sparring. So I think that's something that, like I say, I learned very, very quickly. So I think for the people that are kind of reading something into the sparring and saying, that's going to be a reason why, Dubois got this psychological edge or why he's going to win, I think that's for the birds, really. I really can't see that having a factor in the fight. What is likely to have to be a factor, and what I certainly I believe will be a factor, is both men's power and their experience. Both men carry a significant power, which means kind of anything can happen. And for me, I actually thought Daniel Dubois beat Usyk. I thought that was a legitimate body shot. Your balls are not up here. I think Usyk was hurt, and the referee called it a low blow, so he took all the time he needed, didn't he? I think a lot of fighters would have done the same, but I think Dubois was robbed of a knockout win, really. So he always has that power, and I think Joshua's going to have to be very, very careful right the way through the fight, because they've both got that kind of fight-ending power. So Joshua can't go into this fight with the mindset of he's an easy favourite, but I think he knows that. I think he always has a good mindset in that regard, and he's trained diligently, and I think he learnt a lot from the Ruiz fight where he did get stopped. So I don't think he'll go into it with that mentality. So I think for those reasons, because Joshua has he's very, very experienced. He also has power himself, that Olympic pedigree. I think for those reasons, he'll probably wear down Dubois. Dubois will have his moments, but I think Joshua will win by knockout or stoppage. Probably I'd say around 8 to 10 rounds. But it's like I say, it should be a really interesting fight. It's an all British fight, and I'm really surprised it's not a bigger fight. It hasn't sort of captured the public interest a bit more. But it'll be a good one to watch, and it'll be very interested to see it.